This beautiful creek is the birthplace of the Normanby River, and hidden beneath this rainforest canopy are many wondrous creatures. In the trees we have possums, and in the creek we find platypus and crayfish. A century ago, this young river was dammed, dredged and diverted in man's lust for gold. Now it flows peacefully down the rainforest mountain and meanders across a broad floodplain. The riverbanks and cut-off billabongs teem with life. We see thousands of birds, wallabies, wild pigs, dingoes, who all come to drink its sweet water. Beneath the surface lurk freshwater crocodiles and many aquatic creatures. Then the river meets the tidal sea. The wildlife changed dramatically into mangroves and mud crabs, barramundi and big crocodiles. To all these creatures, the wild river is their lifeblood as it flows from source to sea. A river is born. High up in the rainforest mountain, regular rainfall seeps through the soil and surfaces again in cool, bubbling springs. The trickles carve a network of gullies and they merge to create a fast-flowing stream. In North Queensland, the Normanby River has its source in the Upper Daintree. It flows northwest across a broad plain and empties into Princess Charlotte Bay, a 400-kilometre journey of dramatic changes. There are few fish here, the pools are small, the water flows fast. Tadpoles and snails dominate the aquatic life in the infant river. The snails feed on the dead frogs, and when the snails lay their cluster of eggs, they in turn become food for the tadpoles. Water gliders use water tension to stride gracefully across the surface, unlike whirligig beetles, who always seem to be in a hurry. The red-clawed crayfish is tropical Queensland's hidden delicacy. This one is searching for dragonfly larvae. We make our first camp high up at the Normanby source. It's quite cold here in the rainforest. Ooh, look!
Oh, crayfish!
Yeah, no, don't get too close.
Grab it!
I got it! See, that's a red-clawed crayfish.
Oh,
see the beautiful red claws there? He's got long claws, this guy, and he's good eating. There's lots of them in this river, but there's a special way that we can fish for these things. Fishing line.
Ah.
Oh, where's the end? Right, and the fish. And this is the way we go and fish for crayfish. Let's go.
That must be a good spot.
Yeah, see if there's any under the log.
I think if there's any around here, maybe.
They sometimes like logs.
Kids, just wait for the tug. Just wait for the... If you can feel a little tug. And don't jerk, or you see the crayfish come out and grab it, then just slowly pull it back towards you. Don't jerk it. Grab him, Dean.
Tangled himself up.
That looks like a good one, Dean.
It's dinner.
Well, put him in the bucket. We'll have him tonight.
Oh, that big one.
Yeah, the fish.
Dad, got a big one.
Put him in the bucket.
All right.
Light filters sparingly through the rainforest canopy. The atmosphere is so damp that sometimes the roots will grow up a tree. In order to attract a mate in the forest shadows, birds and butterflies are vividly coloured. The log is slippery and wet, and there's a turtle blocking the way. Hunter and hunted alike come to drink at the bank of this infant river. Predator and prey reach an impasse.
Make them cook.
I don't know, I think these guys would probably take about 5 minutes. That's not long to wait, is it?
The evening is crisp and clear, and the aroma of cooking draws the first nocturnal visitor. Looks good. Break is all open.
Have this a little bit?
Yeah, you are. Just bite the end of it.
Tastes all right. Just a little...
Tastes good. Real good. A sugar glider laps up the sweet nectar and volplanes to another tree which provides him with a diet of insects and larvae. The leafy canopy is the realm of the possums. Except for brief forays to the water below, they eat, sleep and multiply in the treetops. Frogs balloon vocal sacs in mating calls and dominate the evening chorus. We awake to a foggy dawn. Dew lies on the spider webs, and I glimpse a lone platypus hastily completing his nocturnal round. The early sun peeks through the trees, the mist rises, and the platypus is clearly seen. He's having one last forage for food before curling up in his burrow. He feeds not by sight nor smell. Electric sensors in his bill detect tiny movements of his prey. The stream continues down the gorge. It's larger now, with intermittent deep pools. We have seen how the river supports life in the surrounding forest, but the forest in turn sustains the life in the stream. Runoff carries plant litter into the water and provides food for the simple organisms, which in turn are prey for a host of turtles, eels and jungle perch. The creek continues to swell in volume. It's a river now, rushing to the foothills below in a series of spectacular rapids and waterfalls. The atmosphere is constantly wet from the spray. 100 years ago, gold fever brought miners to the Normanby, and somehow they carried far upstream this heavy machinery.
Very big, it's hard to get up.
Don't lean too far forward, kids. It's very deep.
This is a 2 stamp per head. See? Now, that is run by the boiler over there, but the difference is with this one, see, most of the stamps have sort of like a thing that comes over and goes bang, bang to crush the ore, but this one is more like a cylinder, it just goes up and down. I think there's only about 2 of these came into Australia.
Good ones. Right, put the gold up. Let's go. And then they got it out through here. Yeah. This is how you aim for gold. You have to do this. Some people can put gold on TV. No, it's into the bit. And we found gold. Struck gold.
The boys' find is but a speck. Ray Bostock is mining here for much bigger rewards.
The old-timers did a pretty good job. They did it all by hand. Yeah, they took this surface gold out of the rivers, the alluvial gold as we call it. Then they worked most of the reefs, mostly down to about 50, 60 feet. After that it got a bit far down for them. We're working now, we're fetching this gold out at about 200 feet below the grass roots. Right. That's way below where they could get.
Machinery.
Now,
so how much would you get in a day?
Oh, that's top secret.
Oh, is
Yeah.
How much would that gold be worth?
I would say, at a guess, there's about, on today's price, $600, near enough anyway.
I wonder how much we'll get low loads for that. Let's go tell Mum and Dad.
A lonely grave reads WP 32. Perhaps it's William Page who drowned here. Graham Elms leads us to what he believes is a hidden fortress on the Normanby.
As you can see, then, what we worked this out to be, that the old-timers had logs and timber across the top here to keep the spears out from on top. And they used to come in here and camp to get away from the Aboriginals at night and go down there during the day and do their work in the creek.
A lot of work in those walls.
Here, how nice and neat they've stacked these stones. You'd swear the hell that they've cut them with a saw. Yeah. See that kid there? They've packed them all in.
And they've stayed there over the years with the water rushing by here every wet season?
That's right. There's not a
pretty
stone
solid.
There. Not a stone out of place.
The Normanby foothills have been dammed and dredged in the lust for gold. But the resilient river has recovered. We tap another of her riches, barramundi.
all of them. Beautiful feed. Yep. Oh. Whoa. Yay! Whoa. He's a beauty. Oh, he's huge.
The spider's skill as a hunter is well known, but there's a fish in the river who can also catch butterflies. The archerfish literally shoots them down. He hovers in the shadows of an overhanging tree, eyes focusing upwards. The jet of water is amazingly accurate. He even allows for light refraction in his aim. His home is in the river, where the water flows slowly over deep pools. This cricket shows initiative. He's hiding on the leaf from the sharp eyes below. Uh-oh, don't leave the leaf. The foothills are left behind. The river is wider. No more do the branches meet across the river to shut out the sunlight. Strange tracks left behind in the mud. A turtle has been eaten. The predator, a freshwater crocodile. Freshwater crocodiles inhabit the river from the foothills to the tidal zone. They can grow to 3 meters and feed voraciously on a variety of creatures, especially turtles and fish. This river bank was the scene of a terrible massacre. See that ridge over there?
Yeah.
That's called Battle Camp. Now back in 1873, that's when the big gold rush was on, there was about 100 miners camped there, and the Aborigines looked like they were very nasty, they might attack. So they made up a stockade, just like the old Wild West days.
Yeah, with
the wagons in a circle, and they hid behind them. And the next morning the Aborigines attacked, and there was a terrible massacre. The miners were speared, and the Aborigines were shot. And those that survived the shooting, they ran away, and the miners chased them over to a lagoon and slaughtered the whole lot. This is probably the lagoon that the miners chased the Aborigines and slaughtered them, and it's called Murdering Lagoon. But not because of that massacre. There was another massacre here about 2 years later. A German family, Johann Strauss, they camped here, and the Aborigines attacked, killed the old guy and his wife, and they took the girl away. But on the way back, 2 of the old Aborigine women started to quarrel over her. They started to tug at her, and so the elders said, well, right, we'll stop that quarrel, and they speared the girl. And it was very sad. Murdering Lagoon is a cut-off from the Normanby River. It's what we call a billabong. Peaceful now, It acts as a vast bowl of rich soup that attracts an enormous variety of bird life. A torrid land of extremes, flooded billabongs abundant with life, barren plains of grass, and a mother river that nurtures all. Dawn colours the river, and a young dingo picks up the scent of our breakfast.
Looks good.
Nice and hot.
We set up camp beside the Normanby, where the river meanders across a broad plain through Lakefield National Park. Tributaries have swollen the waters into a wide, deep river now, so we use a canoe to explore its hidden reaches. The pelican stole a fish from the eel, and he's not impressed. A freshwater croc eyes the ducklings. Our approach probably saves them. The chopping of a feeding barramundi entices us. Dean and Adam race back to camp for their rods. Adam has cause to be upset. It was a beauty. Luckily, we have spare lures.
He's pretty big. Yep, we can use him for a pot.
No, we'll harvest some pot.
Yes, good to eat. Whoa! Whoa! Oh. We don't want to get hooked once in the bed.
Nope. Wow! That's great! They're huge!
Yep, Adam almost missed his.
Adam, that thing must be half as big as you are.
A backwater of the river is festooned with huge lotus lilies and jacanas who stride the floating pads with oversized feet. The turtle plans to sunbake on the log, if he can get up. Wild pigs destabilise the river banks. Nutrient-rich soil is washed by the river into the backwater. It fuels the growth of algae, which provides food for a wide range of birds. The watery world of the turtle captivates us. It's an enchanting garden. Frogs have to survive two hostile worlds, the fish below and the birds above. The river attracts an efficient hunter, the dingo, master of the bush. His hunting trail takes him along the river bank where the wallabies also feed. In September, the plain is scorched from the long dry season. The river appears as a ribbon of sand and fades into chains of diminishing pools. The wild animals are geared to this cycle. Imported cattle are not. I find this one bog and try to save it.
Come on, come on. Come on, pull, pull, come on. Come on.
She hasn't the strength left to stand. Covering her with mud to ward off the sun is merely a gesture. Others have died before her, but life continues in the drying river. Hidden behind the reeds, a dingo and her pups, born just a few hours ago. September is also the mating month. Along the length of the river from source to sea, the creatures are courting. The male platypus is in a hurry to visit his girlfriend. He is greeted with a warm embrace. Even snakes are mating. The carpet python wraps her eggs in a protective coil. Across the river is a tall tree full of nests. Shining starlings have migrated from New Guinea and are now preparing their hanging nests. Inside a termite mound, the young of a white-tailed kingfisher wait to be fed. Down on the plain, the freshwater crocodiles are also mating. The drying river has exposed high sandbanks. This is where she will lay her eggs. She times her reproduction in the peak of the dry, so that her offspring will hatch during the abundance of food that comes with the rains. Several trial holes are dug until she finds one with the right consistency in the sand to aid the incubation. About 12 eggs are laid. The fresh waters of the Nombe meet the tidal waters at this place. Fishes of both worlds meet in the brackish pool. Beside this meeting of the waters, a group of brolgas dance in elegant steps. Then, in a frenzy of excitement, they leap high in the air. They stop, beaks pointing skywards, and trumpet their call over the plain. Beyond the thin line of mangroves is a cluster of most unusual palms. We call them lifelong palms, for they grow for 80 years, then fruit only once and die. All the stages of growing, fruiting, dying and dead are seen in this one group. A brush turkey visits the tidal waters 13 kilometres from the mouth. Mangroves now dominate the river bank, and close by is a lone conspicuous hill called Jane Table. This is a sacred burial ground to the Aborigines, and the shallow overhangs along the broken cliff line contain ancient rock art. These are very old then. You know, they're faded. Doesn't look like they've been touched up for years and years. Oh, see this one? This is what I was looking for. That's the Motjala moth. That's what the Aborigines call it. And it's very characteristic of the Princess Charlotte Bay area. They enlarged the body here because that was what the Aborigines ate. So that made a much more lasting impression on them rather than the wings. Yeah, but this is very typical of the Normanby River Aboriginal art.
Then?
This ridge we're walking along, this was the original shoreline. This would have been like the first sand dune and the ocean just here. And now all you can see is a salt pan and the mangroves about 1 kilometre away. All that has probably happened in, say, last 5,000 or 6,000 years. That's what I'm looking for. See this big mound over here?
Oh, yeah.
That's an Aboriginal midden. Look at all these shells. Wow. Yeah. Millions, absolutely millions of them. You know, this is the biggest Aboriginal shell midden I've ever seen. And we know that the Aborigines have lived here along the mouth of the Normanby River for 4,700 years. So you can imagine that this midden is the result of them every day going down, collecting these shells at the mouth of the river and bringing them back, and this is probably was their camp, and opening them up and throwing them down. But this midden is fantastic for archaeologists. If they go down layer by layer, they're going down in Aboriginal history until they get right down to the bottom shell in this mound, and they've got down 4,700 years. So shell midden is really looking back into Aboriginal history. The Aboriginal tribes are no longer here, but they have left an indelible mark of their lifestyle in the form of their rock art and shell middens. The river's bountiful creatures provided for them also. We heard rumours of a hidden cave of incredible rock art near the Normanby. Cave's got to be somewhere close to here. Soon. There's no chance of us finding just from the open here because all these bushes. Why don't you take Adam in? I'll go a little bit further along and we'll work back against the cliff face. This is a good overhang, Dean.
Yeah.
No cave paintings though.
It's in here!
Where are you?
In here!
Hang on.
Over here!
Whereabouts?
Here! Follow this
In here?
my voice.
Oh, wow. Oh, these are beautiful.
Oh, these are huge.
Jellyfish.
Very well preserved. But I guess this is a schooner. I thought of a pearling lugger, but I don't think so because of all the sails on it.
And then a turtle up there.
Yeah, but what are these numbers here?
Oh, that looks like N, T,
T,
D,
and these
N.
here?
And that last one looks like a porthole or something.
Yeah, these might be portholes.
Could be a porthole, Dean, that's right.
But that's about the best preserved cave paintings I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's...
There's another one up here.
Makes you think
There's a
that...
turtle. Well, the Aborigines have obviously been living here for hundreds of years, thousands of years, just utilising this cave. This would be their home.
The bats are the caretakers now. The cave has been kept secret for a long time.
Mom, here's another bug.
Oh, look. It's similar to the other one, isn't it? It's not as in much detail and looks like it might be a bit older. Look at this one down here. Here's a white one that's very faded. It looks like it's the shape of a boat too. See, over the years they paint in the same cave, and some are old paintings and some are new ones.
Hey, Dad, that's a dugong.
Yeah. That's very well done, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can see the way the tail is shaped just like a dugong. The flippers. I don't know why a bit of a pointed nose. The Aborigines always revered the dugong. That was their most important catch that they could make, their best food.
The river is now wide, muddy, salty and governed by the tides. The majestic Jabiru follows the Normanby on its final run to the sea, where it empties into Princess Charlotte Bay. The land is low and swampy, sunken salt pans and mangroves. The mangrove forest teems with life. It's easy to see how the river sustained the Aborigines for almost 5,000 years. The mangroves flourish on the river's silt and convert the sand into rich mud. A battalion of soldier crabs pop out at low tide. The swallowed claw nips an artery inside the pufferfish. It's a fatal stab. Filming the river creatures is not an easy task. Low tide exposes a host of fascinating mud dwellers. The mud skipper, the fish that walks on land. Fiddler crabs talk a language made up of waves and gestures. The males, brandishing oversized claws, often clash in ritualized combat over a female. Lying in the mud for hours, I witness a unique behaviour. The little mud skipper is lunging at a mud whelk, twisting in midair and wrenching a chunk from the whelk's flesh to eat. Incredible! Underground, a prawn is repairing his burrow. As the tide rises, he emerges alongside a commensal goby fish, who is totally occupied with courting a nearby female. The swarming baitfish are targeted by the seabirds. Big trevally surround the baitfish. Dean and Adam drop their lines into this feeding frenzy.
Got him! Here it comes! Oh, he's a big one. Adam, you try and get one now while I get this hook out. Okay.
Good fishing can be exhausting. In this river of plenty, there is only one king, the saltwater crocodile. In the weeks we spent at the river mouth, we made friends with one of the pelicans. There is no exchange of greetings with the lurking crocs, only mutual respect, and more respect from us, I think. They are adept at stalking unwary birds. Every day at low tide, we spot many crocodiles sunning themselves along the river bank. There is no danger in approaching them quite close in the safety of the dinghy, for they know that we can see them. The real danger is when they submerge and disappear. Shrouded by muddy water, they stalk their prey. This is why we call him King of the River. The dry is at its driest just before it ends. The river near the foothills has stopped running and is blocked by a dry sandbank. It's the month of December. The freshwater crocodile eggs are hatching. Nature's calendar tells them the rains are near. First come the dry storms, which thunder but drop no rain. Then come the knock-em-down squalls, as the Aborigines call them, for they flatten the tall grass. The rain is light at first, as if giving a little water to a body dying of thirst. Then the clouds burst, and the touch of water is welcomed by the river wildlife. The first of the rain signals the saltwater crocodile that now is the right time to make her nest. She will lay about 50 eggs. Over Christmas, Cyclone Joy threatens the river mouth with a mountain of waves. Torrential rain is dumped on the plain and in the mountain headwaters of the Normanby. The heavy rains awaken a dormant, burrowing frog. Flash flooding will take some animals by surprise as the stream swells and roars down the mountain in a torrent of foam. The river runs a chocolate brown and bursts its banks to flood the low-lying forest. The Normanby loses its meandering identity and becomes lost in a flooded plain. The floodwaters recede in a matter of days, leaving heaps of debris, some of it 5 meters up in the trees. Some of the saltwater crocodile nests are lost in the flood. After 90 days of incubation, Mother Croc hears the faint squawking of her hatching babies, and she opens the nest. The hatchlings come into the world at a time of plenty, for the river now teems with juvenile prawns. Prawns are a vital link in the food chain. Because it's been a good wet, they are prolific in numbers and rapidly grow into adult size. Now they leave the mouth of the river to be swept up by the waiting trawlers. Only the commercial prawns are kept. The rest, regarded as trash, is tossed overboard to the waiting birds. It seems a pity to waste the progeny of the river for a few prawns in the catch. I look back to the broad mouth of the river and wonder how much longer she will sustain her bountiful life. The Aborigines, in their long occupation, made little impact. Their concern was with survival, but survival to them meant leaving something for tomorrow. Walter Komskek has been barra fishing here for 20 years. He knows the river better than any man.
Ah, that's a nice barramundi, Walter. Yeah. About
Not so
12 kilos?
Oh, 22 pounds?
Yeah. Are you catching as many barramundi now as 20 years ago?
Nah. Nah, it's more people coming too, you know, a lot of dinghies, a lot of speedboats, a lot of...
Four-wheel drives coming in? And you would have seen lots of crocs, I guess.
Oh, if so, still a few around, but I don't like to see that they start shooting either.
We heard a shot and arrived minutes later to see a big croc stumbling up the river bank. The bullet hole can be seen behind the rear leg. Mud crab for dinner, if we can reach it.
Here's one, Len.
Oh, he looks
Yeah,
like a beauty.
he's got his own hole at low tide.
Look on the bank. I'll distract him. Hey.
Oh, yeah, he's solid. Look at the size of those claws.
He's heavy.
Gonna be good to eat.
Let's put him in the dinghy.
Mud crabs are well armed for territorial disputes. I watch 2 males close in and fight. A claw is lost, deliberately thrown to break the hold. The fight continues. The second crab throws a claw, snapped off at an inbuilt fracture line. The waiting opportunists are the only real winners in this duel. Scattered along the river bank are special burrows where the battle-scarred crabs will molt and replace their lost claws. High in the mountain source, the river is pristine. The moment it flows out of the foothills, man makes his impact. Fortunately, it is a resilient river, one that survives dramatic contrasts of swollen waters bursting over the plain, reduced to a chain of drying pools. These extremes create a unique challenge for all the river's creatures to survive.
Thanks, Fiona.
Great.
Wow. Look at this.
Doesn't that look beautiful?
That's a big buck, isn't it?
Oh,
Here's to the Normby River.
excellent.
Our,
I agree.
our productive river.